Hello, guys. How are you doing? Welcome and welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new here, welcome. This is the home of positive vibes. So, in today's video, we are going to be making chapati, our favorite meal, chapati, and I'm going to show you the whole process. But I already made my dough, so let me just show you how it looks like. This I made it about 45 minutes ago, and it's looking ready to start the work. So I'll be using this kitchen island to do everything, and then I'll use the cooker on my left side. So let's get started. Before I start cutting the flour, I have to mix it up because it stayed for almost an hour. Yeah, so I'm just mixing it up and all that, and then I'll start with the cutting process and start cooking. So I'm using eggs and ajab because my eggs flour was not full, so I had to add some ajab. Yeah, basically I'll be dusting the flour to make sure nothing sticks on the kitchen counter or the kitchen island. Yeah, so I divide them into two, and then I start cutting my doughs into small pieces. This is actually the second step after making the dough and leaving it to stay for around 45 minutes. Yeah, so it's really nice because it's not sticking on my hand and on the tile also. So that is really nice, and it shows I made it correctly. I'm very happy with this final result. Yeah, so I cut all my pieces and add pinches where I see I cut too small. So guys, if you've ever made chapati, you know this is the first step. You can use your hand or you can even use a knife, but I didn't want to use a knife because I don't want to cut the tile on the countertop. Yeah, so I just prefer using my hand, and I also find it faster actually. And we are done. So the second process, if you want your chapatis to be layered, but first things first, I have to sprinkle with flour again. I feel like every time I sprinkle with flour, the doughs don't get air so much, so they don't crust on top before I start making like flattening it and putting the oil in between before I roll. Yeah, I think the flour helps with that because it stays soft throughout the whole process. So I like to sprinkle all my little pieces with enough flour, not too much, so it doesn't end up becoming too hard. And then I need to find everything I'm gonna be using, like a spoon where I'll put the oil and the rolling pin, of course. Today I'll be using the double handle, not the smooth one with almost the same angle. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It's made of wood and it has these two sides for holding. Yeah, So guys, because I have a lot of like space, working space, I don't need to like organize so much. I just put my flour there and I pick the amount I need to flatten my dough before I add the oil and roll all of them. I think every time I do this, I get a lot of layers. I get so many layers, which is nice. Cause I think when you make your chapatis with layers, they cook very well. They don't taste like when you bite, you don't eat the flour, you eat um a fully cooked chapati. So that's why I like to flatten it almost very flat and then oil it, and let me show you how I roll it in a minute. Yeah, you just make sure you don't put so much oil, but enough. Yeah, so this is how I roll and roll. And that is how you get chapatis with layers. And then I sprinkle a bit of the flour again for the same reason. It makes them, from my experience, it makes all my small pieces not to harden or form crusts on top. Yeah, on to the second one, same process. And one observation I've made from my experience is when you make your chapati dough very well, even to flatten it becomes really, really easy. It makes your work so, so much easier. You save so much of your energy and also time, because it flattens seamlessly, which is really great. And then I add my oil as usual, just enough, not too much, not too little. And I spread it nicely to make sure it covers almost every part. So I repeat the same process until I finish all of these pieces. Yeah, same thing again. Guys, please do not forget to comment down below and let me know which process you use when you're making your chapati. Personally, this one really works well for me, and so it is what I follow every single time I cook chapati. There's a YouTuber I like to watch. His name is Ikoroi, and Ikoroi like does the everything almost the same as me, but the way I'm doing like this, I saw in like two of his videos where he made chapati. He doesn't flatten it completely. When it's almost like the way it looks here, he takes a spoon and cuts it in the middle after adding oil, and then there's a way he rolls. There's another time I tried his process. It was really fast, but I guess because I'm just used to this, um I'll just stick to this. Yeah, but also his process, I found it quite interesting, especially when you really, really, really want to rush. Yeah. So he uses the same spoon for sprinkling oil and he cuts it in the middle, all the way. Yeah, like in the middle, all the way almost to the edge and then he rolls the same way I'm doing. But for me, I just roll it when it's full like that, because this is what works best for me. So guys, I don't know, because I need to do this like until I finish all these small pieces. You can comment down below and let me know which movies, which series you're watching, who are your favorite YouTubers, you know. Share with me, guys. Let me know what I can watch on Netflix or on YouTube. For me, I have so many I have so many favorite YouTubers that I like to watch, but every time I always say I like watching Ayamarwa and Dimwango, David Jr., Congrats Mom, um, Mayugno. I don't know why I really like watching YouTubers from Nyabohanse. I guess because it's a rural place, but the way they're doing things so well, it makes it more interesting to watch. It's not just your ordinary village, so it makes the videos really interesting to watch. So that's what I really like to watch. But I have a lot of good YouTubers on my list. Because if I want to watch village videos, that's what I watch. And there's a video I recently discovered. It's called the African, is it the African cooking or what? Yeah, but it's a cost YouTuber, and they do videos making food, not just traditional meals. They cook so many different things. They roast, they bake, they they cook chapati, they cook pilau, they cook, they do barbecue, cakes, bread. Yeah. I don't know why I'm forgetting the real name, but that channel is also really interesting because it's a lady who lives in a small house in the village, but she accesses everything you can get in any other town, based off of what she always cooks in her channel. Even the fruits she eats with, she has two kids and a husband. So what they eat is things we eat in any other big city. Yeah, so I find also that channel really interesting. But there's so many nice YouTubers in Kenya. These days people are really pulling up their socks. People are really working hard to give very good quality videos. People are putting in the work. Yeah. And then for properties, I like Mansa Plus, I like Catered Natural. I also really enjoy real estate videos. Also, there's another one I don't right now. I think I'm not focusing so much, so I'm forgetting the name, but it's also a real estate channel. Yeah, those are my top three real estate channels. Mansa Plus, Catered Natural, and the third one, I'm not doing it justice. I don't know why I'm forgetting it. But anyway, maybe when I do another video, I might mention it if I have to. Yeah. So guys, we are almost done with this third process of making chapati, making soft layered chapati. We are almost done. And we are done. So now let's get into business. We need to put on our fire, heat our pan, and get into our last process of making soft, delicious chapati. Guys, what do you put in your chapati? I put salt, a bit of salt, a bit of sugar, and I also put, yeah, those are my, the flour basically, sugar, just little sugar, like 3 tablespoons, but depends with the amount. Like these ones, I put 4 tablespoons of sugar because they are a lot, with almost a full um, tablespoon of salt. But that depends with how you want the taste to be. So here I'm heating my pan. If you can make the best dough in the world, but if you start off with a pan that is not perfectly heated, it's another recipe for disaster. Yeah, so your pan needs to heat really, really well. That's why I'm taking my time here to start rolling. Yeah, and then guys, also when you're rolling, you need to be really, really careful not to make it too thick, because too thick, well, when it's layered, it can be thicker than normal and still cook well with enough fire. But for me, I prefer if my chapati is wider and more flat, so it cooks really well. Like I like the fire to go through very, very well, so that no one bites on uncooked flour. Yeah, I remember those, like when I was starting to cook chapati, I didn't know how to make the dough really well, and so I used to make it so when I'm rolling the way I am, it used to be thicker, and people will eat uncooked chapati. So let me wash my basin, the one I used for making the dough, as the pan is heating. I really want my pan to be very well heat, guys, so that when I start, no going back. Yeah, when I just start, I cook till I finish. Almost done, and my flat dough laying on the kitchen island. And then I have everything ready, everything I'll be using. The water didn't have enough pressure. That's why I've stood here for so long. But anyway, I'm buying time for my pan to heat real well. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost ready. Instead of just standing idly, let me keep myself busy, When you're in the kitchen, it's serious business. Yeah, so that's our first one. Oopsie, it was slightly larger than the pan, or I placed it like not in the middle. That's why it flipped to the other side, but it's okay. And then as it's heating, because I don't just turn it, I leave it to get a bit of heat before I turn it and start oiling. So as it's heating, I also start making the second one. This is how you cook really fast, and the time it will take you, if you do this very fast with a well heat pan, you'll cook for maybe like 30 minutes and you're done. Yeah, so this is what you do, because your pan, like my pan is hot enough. So after I turn, I oil. You see, it's still not so well cooked, and that is the whole point. But you want to make sure the oil gets to every corner. But for me, I don't like using so much oil. Yeah, and then you flipped it over and oil the other side. So you can use a brush, the brush, what is the correct name, but it's made of silicone. You can use that to brush on it, but for me, I prefer using a spoon. Yeah, I use a spoon, but you need to make sure you spread it really, really well before, yeah, and then you turn it again to the other side, and before you take it out of the pan, you want to squeeze it to make sure it's, it gets maximum heat before you, yeah. So this is what I use to make sure it's well cooked and it gets maximum heat from the pan. Because I realized earlier when I was not doing this, you'll find the chapati is not cooked perfectly. So this really helps. If you don't have this silicone spoon, or the correct name, spatula, yeah. If you don't have this spatula, you can use the 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 packet, the packet that oh, okay, let me put it this way. If you don't have this silicone spatula, you can use you see the box or the paper where your maize, sorry, oh my god, what am I saying? Yeah, you can use the packet like this one here when it's empty. So you can hold, there's a way you can fold it and use it to squeeze the way I'm doing, and it works pretty much the same. So no need to stress yourself if you don't have access, or if you don't have this, or if you don't want to use this. There's so many other things you could improvise. Yeah, and you see, so for me, I like making big chapati that almost fills the pan. That's how I trained myself. And I know most people make like almost this size, the size I've just made here, with smaller dough. But for me, there's a way. Every time I cook chapati, I always find myself making the same size, which is really cool. I like that. Yeah, so this is cooking. I need to turn it. Our first step, when you find some burnt pieces from the previous one, you just take it out so it doesn't start burning more, because it's already cooked. Yep. I oil as always. And turn it just like that. Oil the other side. Yeah, so that's how you do. And then for me, I just use the regular cooking oil. I know some people use ghee, others use cowboy. There's another yellow one which looks like cowboy, but I'm forgetting the name. But whichever oil you like to use, you can use that. For me, I just prefer the regular cooking oil. That's what works best for me. Yeah. So all of them, I have to press them down with this spatula. No one wants to eat chapati only in the middle and then throw the rest of, the edges. You see, the same way some people don't eat the pizza crust. So that's what happens when you don't cook, when you don't fully cook your chapati. You end up having to eat only the middle part, which is such a waste. Yeah. And then I put it in my hot pot. And then we keep doing the same process, guys, all the way until we finish. Guys, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. There could be someone who's never come across chapati chapati making video and they want to learn, and I think my procedure was really easy. But if you have any question, you can comment and ask, and I will be sure to answer you. Also, you can let me know what you call this in your language, as we call it chapati in Kenya. So let me know, let everyone know what you call it in your language, wherever you come from. That will be really interesting to learn. So guys, another interesting fact about chapati, when you're making, you can just know if it has backfired or if it's gonna work. And it's really nice because it gives you the chance to improve on the next one, because chapati is so interesting since you don't cook all of them at once. And by the way, there's some guys who really know how to make chapati. They can even cook 10 at a go. But for me, I don't know. For some reason, I've never had the interest even to learn that. I don't know why, but I've just never been interested to learn how to make 5 or 10 at once. I'm just used to making one at a go, which works for me, and it's also fast, because I know people say when you make like 5 or 10 at a go, you finish cooking fast. But for me, this is what I work with, and it's pretty awesome because I never feel like I've spent so much time cooking. It's always very fast, according to me. I don't know. Also, you can let me know, what do you think? A lot of people, actually majority, prefer making several at once, but for me, this is what works best for me. Maybe one day I might consider trying, just to compare, but for some reason I've never had the interest. I don't know why. Anyway, it's no big deal, because the most important thing is what works best and what saves time for someone. You know what I mean? And then one thing that I really, struggle with is making a perfect round shape. But for most people that, I've been with, like cooking in their house together, or like people I've hung out with, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Be it family or friends or anything, colleague, everyone says they really struggle with making a perfect round. But I've seen like people who sell chapati as a street food. When you place it on the pan, you have to keep spreading and making a perfect round. But for me, I don't know, as long as it's well leveled and well flattened, I don't mind if it's this shape. It's still perfect for me. Yeah. But let me tell you one thing, I will make that chapati as tasteful as I can, and I'll make sure it is perfectly cooked. But the shape, so you see, after placing it on the pan, you have to keep like stretching on the sides to make it perfect. But for me, I don't mind. It's fine. And I also know how to make the square chapatis. Maybe one day I'll do that. Yeah, but this is the most common one, because even the time when I was starting to practice how to make chapati, I really struggled with the square ones when I was learning those, because those was when I was like the first times when I was when I was learning how to cook chapati. I also learned how to make squared chapatis and the regular circle ones. So most of my square ones used to have those bumps on the edges, the bumps I was saying. That's why every time I cook, I do just the regular shape, which is fine. And besides, the square one is just for fun, for family, for fun, And I think it has more work. I don't know. It's been a minute since I tried doing that. I might consider trying that maybe the next time. I don't know. I can't promise because I've never really had interest for some reason. Or even if I really like the square ones, every time I cook chapati, I'll find myself doing this same thing. It's like in my mind, like my mind is always set to make the circles, the way you roll and make the small circles. Oh, look at that. So chapatis should be brown, dark brown, um, you know, dark brown patches and not black. Yeah, dark brown, not black. That's how you know it's well cooked. And when you cut it, it shouldn't be like stuck together. It should separate when you're cutting it. Yeah. When you cut chapati and it cuts like what? Like plastic, it means it's not cooked well. Back to my busy table. It looks like I'm advertising this flour, but I'm not really. I'm just showing it for fun. Yeah. It's a nice one anyway, so why not show you what I'm using. It's a nice one. I'm sure most of you guys will recommend using that. Yeah, so we are almost done. You see how I'm using oil so sparingly so it doesn't get in too much. I have a really good friend of mine who used to believe that for chapatis to be perfect and soft and layered, you have to pour oil, like literally pour oil on it. But as I kept practicing, I came to learn, that was cap. It doesn't work that way. You can still make delicious, soft, fluffy, layered chapatis even without using so much oil, which is not healthy anyway. Yeah. So guys, let us continue with the process until we finish. Yeah, so we are almost done and I need to show you the final result. So stick around. Stick around to be able to see how that came out. Once you master how to make chapati, it becomes a really interesting process. Actually, it's fun. Once you get used to it, it becomes like a fun thing for you to do during the weekends or in the evening when you have time. Because yeah, it does need a bit of time to do, because you need to make your dough, keep it for about 30-40 minutes, even 1 hour is fine, and then start the whole process like I showed you. Wow, look at that. So delicious, so yummy, so fluffy, so perfectly cooked. So let me just show you the final outcome. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to just finish up with this and give you a glimpse of how they came out. That looks so delicious. I am so happy with the result. I cannot wait to show you how they came out. Wow. Oh my gosh. Just look at that. Okay, let me just do a little display on this plate just for you to have a look, okay? Just for you to see exactly what I'm talking about. They are so soft. Oh my gosh. They are so soft but very hot. Oh. Let me just place them on the table so you can have a look. Wow, look at that goodness. Oh, that looks really yummy. And it was yummy and soft and delicious. So guys, I guess I'm gonna close this video here, but I hope you enjoyed my video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Please do not forget to like this video, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. It's been a pleasure having you around. Thank you so much for your company in this whole video, guys, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. So I'll see you next time. Enjoy my chapatis. Cheers!